Well, hi, YouTube family. Why, yesterday was vlog number 4. No edit, uncut vlogging. Okay. So yesterday in my vlog of yesterday was just a random vlog, and I talked about my wedding china. Yeah. And so, anyways, I wanted to kind of give you a little story about this china and how it brought me so much happiness, so much heartache, and finally found a place for it. So, anyways, I just want to give you a brief, as a practice, when people get married, they normally, well, normal people, I guess normal people pick out a china pattern. Now, I was not one of those people that thought I needed to pick out a china pattern, but my mother, being the classy little lady that she was, thought I needed a china pattern. So, anyways, voila, china pattern from probably 1989, because I got married in 90. But I want to tell you, traditionally, it symbolizes the couple's unity. Okay. And it is considered a family heirloom. Many couples choose patterns that represent their heritage or personal taste, making it a reflection of the identity as a couple. Moreover, in some cultures, specific colors or designs are believed to bring good luck or prosperity, adding an extra layer of significance to the dishes. Okay, this china pattern is I don't even remember the name of it. But anyways, this was my china that I picked out when I was engaged. And my mother made a big thing about it and said I needed wedding china. I'm not sure why, but I did. So, anyways, I picked out wedding china. And that's what I picked out. I believe it was a Noritake china. And the funny thing is, when I got married, the man that I married, my ex-husband had no idea anything about wedding china. And honestly, I think the only time we ate on it was our first anniversary. That was the only time we ate on that china. And so, voila, I present to you my cabinet with my wedding china. Also has my crystal, which I don't think these have ever been drank out of either. Isn't that crazy? So, anyways, these are like a Mikasa brand. Oh, my china was Noritake, was what it was. So, anyways, I'm gonna put this back up here. So the story is about the china was that my mother insisted that we go to Dillard's and I pick out a wedding china pattern. And I was like, okay. Well, like I said, the man I married could care less about wedding china. We ate off of paper plates most of the time. So mother and I went to Dillard's and painstakingly went through every china pattern on the wall. And I, finally I was just like, I'm going to pick something that I like and that me and mom kind of like. So this was the pattern I chose. I don't know if you can really see it up close, but it had like kind of burgundy roses with some gray and trimmed in black. And then it's got the silver around the sides. And the name of it, like I said, is Noritake. Etony was the name. Etony is the name of this china pattern. So, anyways, again, I picked this out in 1989 because I got married in 1990. So I only got like 4 place settings of this china, which was okay. But I probably more than likely 3 of them were come from my mother. She probably bought 3 sets of these. I also picked out flatware, silverware too. So, anyways, the story of the china is so I was married, got married in 1990, married the love of my life. Well, we divorced in 2016. So I, you know, when I took my stuff, was stuck with this wedding china and I was stuck with the crystal. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this? And I tried to sell it. I looked on trying to put it on eBay. I was like, and so I offered it to my children first. And I have a boy and a girl, adult children, and neither one of them wanted it. Even my own daughter was like, why would I want that? I have no desire to have that china. I mean, she don't even have wedding china. And so that is when I was trying to sell it and trying to give it away and nobody wanted it. And then I would price it on eBay and it wasn't really worth anything. And then I know, of course, most of y'all know I do flea market booths. So when I would go to my flea market, I would look at China and I found that pattern, and it wasn't really worth anything, even as old as it is. It wasn't really worth anything. And I thought, well, I either give it to somebody, I considered donating it. I mean, I did a lot of thinking about it, but I knew my kids didn't want it. My daughter didn't want it. So, anyways, one day I was unpacking it, because I was going to repack it. And I was looking at it. And the story of me and mother going to Dillard's and picking out this china really hit me, especially losing my mother last year, who died in May of last year. She was 93 and she had dementia. And so I think it last year before she passed away. It might have been before she passed away. I remember looking at this china because, by that time I was already losing my mother. My mother had pretty much succumbed to dementia. She didn't really remember a lot of things. And but I remember sitting in it, maybe it was God just planting this in my heart, but I remember going and picking this china with her. And I'm thinking, why do I need china? I'm just a girl, old country girl, but anyways. So a realization come to me that this wasn't my wedding china. This china did not belong to me and my husband because he could care less about it. And like I said, this china sat in a cabinet in our when we were married, and my kids stared at this and seen it. They seen it in the cabinet, but they really didn't. What is that? I remember thinking. My daughter one time said, "Mom, what is that?" And I said, "Oh, that's the wedding china. I got that when I got married. So but we never ate off of it." So, anyways, so the story is, it came to me that this was not my wedding china. This china pattern was not something me and my husband, who I was marrying, picked out. This china was me and my mother. It's me and my mom's china. And I remember just tears welling up in my eyes when I finally came to that realization, because I thought this was a memory that I made with her. I made that memory with my mama. And so now I look back at it. And so I had, like I said, I tried to give it away. I tried to sell it. Nobody wanted it. Even my own daughter didn't want it. So I came to the realization that china was not the wedding china. That was me and my mama's china. So that day when that realization happened, I unpacked that china out of the box that it had been in for God knows how many years after I had divorced. And I unpacked it. And I unpacked the crystal as well. And I unpacked each piece and I hand washed each piece, each crystal, long stem crystal goblet and water goblet and wine glass. And I hand washed each plate. And as I did that, I thought of my mother. So I hand washed it and I placed it in my cabinet of my house, of my home. And I placed it in there, remembering the memory I had with my mom the day I picked out the wedding china. And like I said, that china had nothing to do with my marriage, my wedding. My husband at the time didn't even know what it was. It was like, where did we get this? I'm not eating off this. It's not paper plates. And then I come to the realization that that china was me and mama's china. So I'm going to show you. This is one of the last pictures of me and my mama. And yes, I weighed 300 pounds at one time. This is my mama. Let me introduce you to my mama. This is Laura Bell. That's what I called her. She hated the name, but that was her name, Laura. And I called her Laura Bell. And I call my flea markets Laura Bell. So, as a reminder, that china was mine and my mama's china. Had nothing to do with the man I married. It was a memory that her and I made. And they made that memory together. picking it out, going to Dillard's, her insisting on me getting a China pattern. And I can remember her and I agreeing that we both liked that one. So that is the story of me and my mama and the wedding china. I no longer call it the wedding china. I call it Mama's china. So I wanted to share that story with you because now when I drink my coffee or my tea, I drink it with the memory and in honor of my mama, who lived 93 years on this earth and raised me and my siblings and was an excellent mama. She was a princess, but she was an excellent mother. So, cheers. And I hope you enjoyed the story about the wedding china. And again, this is day 5 of no edit, all raw, uncut vlogging. I hope you enjoyed my story. If you have a memory of do you have some china that you eat off of? Please let me know in the comments. I would really like to know. And maybe if you don't have a china story, maybe share a memory of your mother with me. I always love to hear people tell me stories about their moms. I have so many, but that was probably my favorite. Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.